Hello and welcome back to a special episode of Diablo to D&D. My name is David, and today is December 8th, the exact 2-year anniversary of the start of the Diablo to D&D YouTube channel. So, today I'm just gonna free rant about just the stuff that I have done over time. I want to tell you my story. And this starts way, way back when, on Christmas Day in 1998. I had a couple of friends on the playground who happened to have this new fancy card game called Pokemon. And I told my parents, I want Pokemon cards, because I wanted to be like my friends. And Christmas Day, I come running downstairs, and right there, propped up on my stocking, was a set of Pokemon cards. Now, it wasn't the actual card game. It was one of those, movie packs that just happened to have the, some information about the cards, or about the Pokemon. But I didn't really care. It was Pokemon, and I was excited. In fact, side note, I believe my brother actually has some of the cards from that pack. I remember opening it up and seeing a Charmander with a cutout on the side and thinking, oh no, it's damaged. It's not damaged, it's perfectly fine. But that sparked something inside of me. It sparked this love of games. And as I grew up, I played through Pokemon. I, by the way, am missing 20 some odd cards from the first couple of sets up to Gym Heroes and Gym Challenge. Or not 20 cards, 50 cards, about 10 cards from each set. I graduated from Pokemon into Yu-Gi-Oh, of course. Spent a ton of money on Yu-Gi-Oh. Loved it, still love the game. Dislike what Konami's doing with it, but whatever. And moved into this new card game called Magic. I had seen it a couple of times over the years, and eventually a friend of mine gave me just a bunch of Magic cards, which sparked my love of black and artifacts, because that's what he gave me. He was super Christian, so here's all the black cards, obviously. But Magic got me involved in Wizards of the Coast, and Wizards of the Coast makes Dungeons and Dragons. There was one or two times when I'd heard about Dungeons and Dragons, but I'd never really played it. And then one day, my brother tells me, my older brother tells me, hey, there's this friend of mine who is interested in running a game of Dungeons and Dragons. Would you be interested? And I said, yeah, sure. I guess. I mean, I'll do it with my siblings, and I made an elf rogue named Link, and we sat down for one or two sessions, and it never went anywhere, but we were shipwrecked, and we lost absolutely everything except for roll, die, my thieves' kit. And we got rescued, and I stole a dagger from the armory, and it was... I remember that session so well. I take the dagger. Okay. I listen. Do I hear anything? And he rolls the screen, gets this big smile. He looks up and says, I don't hear anything. Do you hear anything? Anyway, from there, I never really had an opportunity to play Dungeons & Dragons, but I still played Magic a ton. And then I grew up, I went to college, and I ended up moving from Tennessee, where I grew up. My family was originally from northern Utah, moved to Tennessee when I was 8, and then I served an LDS mission in Las Vegas, and then my family moved to southern Utah, and that's where I am right now. And through various escapades, I ended up in a household with a bunch of people who were pretty much nerds. We loved swords, and we loved games, and we loved all kinds of just fun stuff like that. And one of my roommates said, hey, would you be interested in playing in this Star Wars campaign that I'm running? And I said, yeah, sure, on one condition. I want to play a semi-intelligent animal. He said, okay, sure, go ahead. So I made entirely homebrew. I had never been exposed to this system. I had made a race and a class. I ended up as a So-Rin, S-O-RINN. They're semi-psionic burrowing animals. They're pack hunters. Think Linoon and Zigzagoon kind of mushed together with some psychic abilities. And then the experiment class is like you've been captured and experimented on, and they've augmented your abilities. They've grafted wings onto you, or your extra adrenal glands, or giving you psionic abilities or whatnot. If you're interested, you can actually find it on the Star Wars something or other subreddit. I think it's like Star Wars TTRPG subreddit. It's still up there. That was the first time I had actually made anything for a tabletop game. I had done, TTRPG, excuse me. I had done, started concepting a StarCraft Stratego way back when, after I realized that you can add abilities to Stratego pieces, when my mom bought me Stratego, or Narnia Stratego. So I had been like developing games way back when. I had actually started doing like designing Pokemon or Fakemon. I still have one drawing in my journal. Its name is Scorpiton. It's so bad. Anyway, I played this character, didn't have a name. We nicknamed him Floof, and I loved it. Unfortunately, the people broke apart. People moved away, and life happened. So we didn't actually finish the campaign, but I got that taste of creating something, of making something, and I wanted more. Fast forward a couple of years, I joined a D&D campaign in the same household. I actually joined a couple of different campaigns and played through them, loved them. This next part of the story I've mentioned before, but I'll mention it again. This is my introduction to the Diablo TTRPG, or D&D crossover. I love yard sales. I love going and seeing what other people have, just the stuff that they have. There's so much interesting stuff that people are getting rid of, trash and treasure and all that. And I was just walking down the street one day, and I saw, hey, there's a yard sale here. So I stopped by and look over some stuff, and I found the Diablo Re, the kind of player's handbook for the Diablo crossover. And I had played Diablo since high school. I have the USB drive that my friend had sold me with hacked Diablo 2 in it. In fact, you can, I show it to, can't remember the guy's name, but the Roll Around Find Out guy in his interview from a year ago. So I had played Diablo for quite some time, and I thought, well, I like Diablo, I like TTRPGs, or I like D&D. I love the idea of a crossover, and I love great game manuals. I read game manuals for fun. Even as a child, whenever we'd go to like a secondhand store, or my mom would find me in the book section flipping through like a Doom manual. I'd never played the game. Still have never played any Doom manuals or any of the Doom games, but I loved just, here's an Age of Empires game manual. I've already read it. Or StarCraft, read that one too. My brother has it. We had it back in like 2002, 2003. And so I was like, yeah, it's $2. I'll pick it up. And it sat on my shelf for quite some time. And over time, I expanded my collection of game manuals. I've got StarCraft and StarCraft 2 and Super Smash Brothers, Brawl, and Diablo 1, 2, and 3. Or not 3, excuse me, just 1 and 2. But I've just collected these things over the years. So this next part is a little personal. There are aspects of my life that I am not particularly proud of. It's led to some, not deep depression, but it's contributed to the feeling that I am like not, I don't want to say not worth anything, but like I'm consuming too much. I'm taking and taking and taking. I'm playing all these video games. I'm getting a ton of enjoyment out of it. But it's not like I'm doing anything with what I know. Kind of my life had stagnated. I'd hit my high point and just kind of bottomed out, which is weird, but it just kind of did, like my life wasn't progressing anywhere. And through the amazing guidance of my brother and a program, self-help program that he dragged me to up in Salt Lake or Provo area, I realized that I wanted to be a creator. Like, I want to give something back to the community that that had given me so much. And as much as I enjoyed, mechanical engineering and electrical engineering, and as much as I enjoyed English and sci-fi and fantasy and all these, like, I could be a writer, I could be an engineer, I could be anything that I wanted to. I want to be a game designer. To quote Thomas Edison, I've never worked a day in my life. It has all been fun. This is what I want to do, not because game design is fun as in, well, I'm just playing games all day, but because it is intellectually stimulating. It's creating something. It's watching a piece come into existence in front of you. Something tangible that I can point to and say, hey, I made this. The sculptors and the writers and the artists out there are like, yep, I get that. I get that feeling. And this is what I wanted to do. Game design is more than just playing games. It's applying life experience and sharing that story that you've made with other people. It's world building. For games that have a world, it's not like Uno is a story. But these are the kinds of things that I want to create. I want to have a story, or I have a story that I want to tell. And so I ended up falling into the English creative writing program because I'm really good at technical writing. I'm really, really good at technical writing. But I wanted to have, not a fallback, but I wanted to shore up my weaknesses in my creative writing so that I can give good descriptions. And I also want to write a book, which I'm writing right now. Technically, it's on hold. Anyway. So, one day, I was just sitting, thinking over, what do I want to create? I want to do something with my talents, something that I can put out there. And I saw my Diablo, the Diablo-re. I pulled it out and I flipped through it and I thought, this is 20-something years old. I bet I could do something like this. Cool. Let's do it. Huh. How would I do it? Like, what are the mechanics? I know D&D pretty well. I've played for 5 or 6 years by now. Well, played regularly for 5 or 6 years. I have the talent to just absorb information. I have the desire to read game manuals. I've read the player's handbook, not all in one sitting, but I've read these things. I'm familiar with the system. I'm familiar with the wording and whatnot. So, what do I do? Well, how would I go about making this? And I thought, okay, like what would be the most interesting thing to do? And the first thing I thought about was the druid, the Diablo 2 druid, and the vine. It seems weird, but I mean, looking back, but like you got to start somewhere. So the vine. Okay, so what would you do? Okay, so well, let's see. It deals poison damage, and it's very squishy, so it has low hit points. It's not very agile, so it would probably have a low AC. Okay, so let's see. How would it do this? Okay, it would probably have like a bite attack. At that time, I didn't really know that it actually creates a mat of poison, but yada yada. It can burrow, and so I sat down and just kind of sketched out this rough outline of what the vine would do. And then I started building it out. I was like, okay, I want to make this look like it's official. So I built the Word files as though they were official content. I mimicked the layout. I mimicked the wording. I mimicked as much as I could because this is the stuff that I want to do. I wanted to show that I can create things just like they're doing at Wizards of the Coast. And then as I built out the Druid, I started building out some of the other classes. I built out the Amazon to a little bit, and not the Crusader, the Paladin, and the Assassin was giving me some trouble, so I put that one aside. And then I did this class and that class, and eventually I was like, you know what? I actually have enough to start a campaign. So I grabbed a couple of my friends, and I said, okay, let's set up a campaign. How's Thursday looking? And we met on Wednesdays normally, and so we kept meeting on Wednesdays and met on the same place, at the same time on Thursdays, and just kept going. Over the next couple of months, they gave me feedback, I tweaked some things, we had somebody join, we had somebody leave, and people have rotated in and out ever since. After a few months, I was in MagicCon Las Vegas 2023. I had brought the Diablo because I wanted RK Post, who did the cover art and a bunch of the interior art, to sign it. I carried it around for most of the convention, well, for that day anyway, collecting signatures for a playmat that I have that is the Magic the Gathering content creation community, and it's cosplayers and podcasters and YouTubers and famous pros and whatnot, just people who make content. Alex Kessler, the head of Kesco, was one of the people that I really wanted to get signed, or that I really wanted to sign it. He is one of the hosts of the Masters of Modern podcast, and he's been around for ages and ages, but he's also the CEO of Kesco, who make children's toys. He's been doing this for quite some time. He is a big name in the community, and I managed to flag him down that year and just introduce myself and tell him, here's what I'd like to do. I want to be a game designer. When you are hiring, what do you look for? He said, well, we're not hiring right now. And I say, dang it. But he said, my advice would be to build up a portfolio. Have something that you can show people. And I said, well, what do you know? I'm actually doing that right now. I've got this whole Diablo 2 adaptation into Dungeons & Dragons that I'm working on. And he said, yeah, that's great. That's a start. Keep it up. This was in September, I believe. That December, I was sitting down in front of my computer and I thought, I should probably make a YouTube channel. I mean, I've got to publish my results somehow, so I'm going to make a YouTube channel now. All right, how do I do it? So I got on YouTube, registered, made a new account, made the Diablo to D&D YouTube channel. My friends and I had discussed, what would we call this? We tried to get Diablo, D and Diablo, but the Twitter handle was taken, so meh. So I ended up going with Diablo to D&D, which is very descriptive. And I sat down and just recorded a video on the design intent document. Found a video editing software, plugged it in, cut up the video to match what I wanted to do, and that was the start of Diablo to D&D as a YouTube channel. The first couple of videos were just the class overviews. Here's what they do, here's what they look like, and the plans that I have for them. But eventually I fell into a pattern of making a video every week, and this is just something that I've created or something that I've fixed. Then I figured it was taking a little bit too much time, so I split the videos into just a main video of a let's create, let's fix, and then the change log every other week. And I've kept that up for basically 2 years. About a year into my publishing, I got a DM from, or a message from another YouTube channel Roll Around, Find Out. And he said, hey, I saw your YouTube channel. Would you be interested in doing an interview? And I said, heck yes. I would love to do an interview. And so I did an interview on his channel, and you can go watch it, Roll Around, Find Out. And that gave me a huge boost of confidence that people were actually seeing my content and actually paying attention to it. I mean, it's not like I needed it per se, but, it's nice to know that you're being recognized. The next year in the MagicCon Las Vegas, as it started coming up again, I was like, you know what? I want to do a showcase of what I have done. So I scrapped together a bunch of plans. I got miniatures, and I spent a ton of money, printed out maps, printed out character sheets, made a sign, and went to Las Vegas and sat down at one of the tables, laid everything out, and spent 28 hours over 2 days at that table. And I swore to myself I would never do that again. But it was effective. I had some very, very good conversations with people over the stuff that I had done and what I had planned on making further. And in fact, the next year at MagicCon 2025, MagicCon 2025, some of the people that I had met the previous year came up and was like, oh, hey, it's you. I love your work. And I'm super happy that they remember me, honestly. But I did it again at MagicCon 2025. Changed my schedule around a lot, setting up in the morning and then closing out at like 1 o'clock or 3 o'clock so that I actually have some time to unwind before heading home. And that's where I am now. I am, at this point, working on kind of continuing my craft, making sure that I have an understanding of the 2024 edition. I'm doing pretty well in the 2014 edition, but now I've got my sights set on the 2024 edition and adapting everything to this new version. It's going to take time because it's always going to take time, and it's learning essentially a new system. It's not just capitalization, it's power balance. What is acceptable in 2014 might be too weak in 2024, and vice versa, or that it's too powerful in 2014 but acceptable in 2024. As it stands right now, I have put or will put the basic outlines that I'm working on into the files so that you can see them as they get worked on. I am broadening my horizons from the Diablo 2, from just Diablo 2 into Diablo 3, Diablo 4, and Diablo Immortal. That means that I've got 7 more classes that I've got to, 9 more classes that I've got to bring in. And 2 of them I have never played. And so I've got to do a ton of research. I've got to do all this work, and I love it. I am in my element. I am working with the clay that I love. And honestly, I'm happy. Even if nobody really hears this, even if I barely make a dent in YouTube traffic, I'm just happy to make something. I'm glad that there are people out there who are enjoying this. I mean, I've had a couple of comments here and there say, oh yeah, this is actually pretty cool, and I've really enjoyed your work, keep it up. And then my sisters occasionally come in and go, hey, good job, David, you're doing good, I love this. I'm like, yeah, thanks, appreciate it. But without getting too deep into everything, just find your passion. Just find something that you love doing and do it. I mean, if I get hired to do game design, I'm super happy. I'd be through the roof, over the moon, whatever the phrase is, and so glad to do it. But if this is just, if I end up being a janitor for the rest of my life, I'd be fine with that. I enjoy janitorial work. I'm one of the weird people. But this is kind of what I'm aiming for. To do something I love. And if I can get recognition for it, that's great. If not, that's fine too. So, plans for the future. I've outlined them a little bit previously, but now I'm going to get into some very specific details. First and foremost, I am going to package up what I have created so far and stick them into a folder, a subfolder in the Diablo to D&D files that I have put in. They are going to take the back burner. I'm probably going to go back after with more feedback and continue to make changes. I still want to keep that up because I'm still not I'm still not pleased with what I have done on a couple of the things. See Fire Druid, for example. But I am going to continue forward on the 2024 editions. Before I do that, before I start making videos on the 2024 versions of these classes, I am going to run through again and do 2 series. I'm going to update the class overviews, and then I am going to do a Let's Build, where I don't know if this is going to be 1 video for each class, probably, so they can jump into the 2024 editions. But I'm going to do a series called Let's Build, where I go through and say, here are the choices that I make, or something that you could do when you are building this class and subclass out. Kind of like what D&D Deep Dive does. This is something that I want to do so that I can actually look at the balance and, maybe, show people what you can do with this, what you can create, while putting them under a deeper scrutiny so that, maybe I should tweak this ability and whatnot before all of it goes to the 2024 edition. After that, I'm going to do, keep you abreast of the change log occasionally. But that one's going to take the back burner once I start doing these 2 series. I want to push them out as fast as possible. But then once all that's wrapped up, then I will start doing the 2024 editions. I am in the process right now of building up the skeleton, the templates for each of the classes. I've started kind of the concepting stage of each of the new classes, but I won't be working on them until the end of these 2 series. And I think that's pretty much it. I think that's everything that I want to say. I mean, other than thank you. I really, really appreciate the time that you guys spend listening to me ramble. I am so glad that a handful of you have found an interest in what I want to do. This is really kind of what I want to do. This is why I started it, to show people, one, that I can do this, but also to prove to myself that there's something that I am doing that is worth doing, so that I can create, showing myself that I can create, showing the world that I am kind of someone, and also to provide an example for other people to create on their own time and create the things that they want to do, to be an inspiration to other people, and to have, something that I can say, oh, look what I've done. So thank you very much for listening. You can contact me at XenosFan2, that is XENOZFAN2 on Blue Sky and Reddit. And you can contact the channel directly at Diablo TODND on Blue Sky and YouTube. Thank you much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Have a good whatever.